Final arena combat.
Main system, activating combat mode.
Hello, so this is my take on the Moonlight AC build. Just a disclaimer, I just entered New Game Plus, so I do not have all the parts yet in the game, and I'm also new to the series, so I'm not claiming that this is the best build for the sword. So the best way to do damage in this game is to stagger your enemies, so the goal for this build is to use your other weapons to build up the stagger meter, and then use the Moonlight sword to finish them off. So let's talk about the build. So since we are using the Moonlight Sword, this is going to be a close range build. And it's going to be on the lighter side to get in and out of danger. And I think it's generally cooler that the sword is on a lighter mech, to be honest. So let's first off start off with the weapons. For the back units, I'm using the Songbirds. You can use the stun needle launcher, you just need to change out the generator. Either one is fine. You're going to be less mobile, but you'll do a lot more damage with these. And honestly, these guns are kind of overpowered. But I don't like using them because they're pretty ugly. They're hideous, so I don't want to use them at all. I like these. Oh yeah, but the main reason you use these is because they build up stagger. They build up a lot of stagger. The right-hand weapon, I used the Ducat, again, for the same reason. It builds consistent stagger, and also you need a weapon to do cleanup. You need a weapon to kill regular enemies. So I picked this gun because it has good fire rate. It one-shots all the regular enemies, and it's really good. Basically, you just spam it on a boss, and you keep it their stagger meter there. You don't let it dissipate, and it also builds it up a lot. So that's why I picked this gun. So, let's go with some no-brainer picks, like you can't really argue about them. The arms, you just want the one with the highest melee specialization, and I just had these, so. And then for the FCS, you just want the one with the best close range assist. So the next two parts are the most important, which are the generator and the booster. Since you're a lightweight build, these are really important. I think the most important stat for this is the recharge delay. This basically, when you stop using your quick boost, this will determine how fast you'll get it back. So let me just show you how fast this is. I stop and it's already coming back. So yeah, I like that, that generator. And then for the booster, the three most important stats are going to be QB jet duration, QB reload time, and then QB reload ideal weight. So the quick boost jet duration determines how far you jump per quick boost. This is actually a pretty important stat because you just get more out of each quick boost. You jump farther. So let me show you an example, demonstration of how this gets affected. So I'm going to use some extreme cases here. So this one is the one that gives you the largest jet duration, 0.54. So this goes about 2.5 pillars. And we'll pick one that's really bad. So I think this, so I'm going for my ideal weight too. I'm not just, so this one for my weight class has a bad jet duration. So this goes to 2 pillars. So it's a half a pillar distance, which is pretty, I think it's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty important stat in my opinion. And then I'll show you the ones I use. I use these. It's just going to go in between since they're in between both of those. 0.4. So numerically, it makes sense. The other stat, like I said, reload ideal weight. This pretty much is going to determine the last parts of your character. I'm going bipedal legs because I want to be on the ground as a melee character. You can go, you can do aerial if you want, but for my playstyle, I'd rather be on the ground. And these bipedal legs, I just went with. These are just the reason why, if you see my weight, it perfectly is. I'm right below the ideal weight, so these stats basically matched up perfectly. Because I want to I want a little bit more attitude stability. I don't want to. I'm already pretty light. 73k is pretty light. So these legs are kind of heavy, but they have pretty good defensive stats, and the attitude stability is really good. So that's like how I made my decision for the core. Another thing, you can actually have a lower recharge delay on your core too. It actually affects that stat as well. Just letting you know. But you mostly want to focus on defensive stats at this point, or weight if you want to go lighter. But for me, attitude stability is actually pretty important for me because I don't want to get staggered at all. So that's why I picked that. And I picked the lightest helmet here. This is actually still has good attitude stability for its weight, but I picked the lightest one just because how the weight worked out with this booster specifically. So your booster is actually really core for a lightweight mechs. Your booster is actually kind of important. It pretty much determines your frame a little bit. So let's talk about the sword a little bit. The sword is actually really good. It's not a gimmick at all. It feels really fun to use during missions. It's kind of like a second gun that doesn't have any ammo. The other melee weapons are kind of annoying to use because they kind of get stuck in animation a little bit. This sword, you get out of animation really. The animation is just fast, and the projectile comes out really fast. You definitely want to charge it if you stagger an enemy, and I'll show it right here. So let's stagger him, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I charged it up, and that did like 6.6k damage. That's pretty good. And then I'll show you the other variant, these stupid guns. Let's see here, and then you just need to change out a generator, and it'll work out perfectly. So these don't do as much stagger, but they do a lot more. Their tracking is insane. I think the most OP thing about these things is their tracking. They track insanely well, and they do so much damage. Yeah, so I wasn't able to. The combo didn't work out there perfectly, but I just like two-shot it with. You can just like two-shot it basically with this. I'm not even gonna use my sword. I'm gonna wait for a reload. Yeah, I mean you gotta get it staggered, but these things are just insane. You just look really dumb with it. But yeah, I'll have the share code of this build in the description, and hopefully you guys will like it.